Welcome to Art Talk Bus Stop, a monthly youth-centered podcast about how artists do their work and make a living. I'm Nicole Cabrera.
I'm Erica Thomas, and we are joined today by another student, Ayana Ross. Welcome, Ayana. And we're so pleased to be hosting a musician from Portland, Papi Fimbres. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you here. Kind of to just kick it off, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Papi Fimbres. My actual name is David Fimbres, but I was given the nickname Papi a long time ago by a bunch of musician homies about 15 years ago. So it kind of stuck. It was more like a term of endearment back then by a bunch of Latino homies. And it kind of stuck around, which is hilarious and silly at the same time. My mom always jokes about it, because my family are Latino. And my mom's always like, Mijo, ¿por qué te llaman Papi? She's like, why do they call you daddy? I'm like, it's like, no, it's like a term of endearment. It's sweet. Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. So I've been in Portland since '99. I moved up here from Los Angeles. And I've been here for 21 years now. And I've definitely seen this city change and become a whole different entity within itself over time. And my music has changed a lot. And when I first came here, I didn't have any bands. And I think right now at this point I'm up to like 16 bands, which is kind of ridiculous. So
16 like active bands or 16 bands in total so far?
16 active bands.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because of the pandemic, a lot of them definitely a lot of them chilled out, mm-hmm. which is understandable, So, but during this whole pandemic, there was definitely a handful that we still got together and wore masks and just played isolated and just still try to get some stuff going.
Yeah, and how long have you been in bands for, starting when?
At the age of, I think my first band was at the age of 8 or 9. Oh, and it was just I was really into Nirvana back then, and mm-hmm. and I was just trying to just do just rock music, just my friend had a drum kit in their garage in LA, so I was just figuring out how to bash on drums as a little kid. My first instrument was piano, though, at the age of 5. So from there, I went to play flute. And eventually, I started playing drums, around 8 or 9. So,
yeah, I actually used to be a flautist in 5th grade.
Oh, that's awesome.
For 1 year. But then I broke my
amazing.
arm. And then
Goodness.
I still played with my arm broken, but yeah.
You said you played for band?
I don't know. It was just elementary school. It's just we had.
Oh, it was elementary school.
Yeah, elementary school. It wasn't middle school yet. I quit.
Got it.
Started middle school, but yeah, I couldn't. But no, yeah. So you played piano, and now you're playing the drums, correct?
I mainly play the drums. Yeah, I still play a bunch of other Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I'm more known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some other instruments that you wish you could play that you probably don't play, or something that you could master better?
Oh my God, I would love to play the double upright bass. Just something about an big old jazz bass just is so beautiful and so somber, and it's one of those instruments that is so cumbersome too, and it's so massive. Mm-hmm. And I always thought it was a beautiful instrument. That's one instrument I've always wanted to learn. I guess it's never too late, right?
No, it's never too late.
It's never too late.
So growing up, I actually read about how your mom put you in a lot of youth music programs and stuff. I know from experience and from other friends of mine, growing up in a Latino household, it can be a little hard to want to do stuff that's creative because it's not generally what your parents want you to go after. So how was it for you to grow up with a mom who encouraged and supported you going towards this artistic direction?
Well, I grew up in the heart of Los Angeles. I grew up right by Pico Union. So in the 80s, that was extremely harsh. It was an intense growing up situation for me. I've seen people take their last breaths. I've been shot at as a child just because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So my mom, she saw all this, and my dad too, but my mom was more supportive in that regard. And I'm 3 out of 4 kids, and my 2 older siblings were in rival gangs growing up, and they're always getting into trouble, and my mom saw that. So when I was born, she's like, no, we're not gonna have this kid just fall into the cracks of like a broken society as well. So she put me into like rec school into rec classes. When I was little, and I loved it. And until I realized during the pandemic, music is absolute therapy for me. It really just it it just cleanses my heart and my mind and my soul. So it's been hard during this pandemic for sure. But once I started playing music as a kid, I started to really, really appreciate this part of music, because none of my other siblings or no one in my family are musicians. I was the only one, so it was kind of odd too, because I couldn't relate to anyone in my family. So I was just kind of doing everything on my own terms, and just doing it slowly, learning in my own way.
And you mentioned that your first like band was when you were 8. Can you talk a little bit about how you sort of joined bands, and how you started to just join all these different bands throughout the year?
That's an easy answer. That's just straight up friendship. That's
Yeah.
homies. It's like being in a band is truly like being in a relationship. You really need the push and pull. You need to be understanding. You need to listen. You need to be compassionate. There's so many emotional aspects to being in a band. Like, for me it is, because I'm like 100% in, even with all of them. It's all you know an emotional movement for me. So even with my first band, it was just like my really good friends, and we all just eventually learned instruments on our own. And it was my idea. I was like, let's start a band. Let's do something fun. Because just growing up, it was listening to Nirvana and Sebado and a lot of rad bands, and I was like, man, I want to play drums. I want to go crazy. So, and luckily, my mom was like, yeah. So once I eventually was able to buy a drum, my family bought a drum kit for me, and I just played it in the backyard because we had no garage. So I played it under an orange tree in the backyard. It was pretty awesome, except when the neighbor.
Oh, that was
It
beautiful.
was pretty cool, and it was just a crappy drum kit, like with a brick in front of it, and I didn't even have a throne to sit on. I think I was sitting on like milk crates. It's very extremely DIY, without even being cool about it.
I love what you were talking about how being in a band or being in bands for you is like a relationship. And I think
Yeah.
like one of the signature things I notice about all the projects that you do is, one, that you work with a lot of really talented and strong and amazing women, and that you often during your shows even will acknowledge like, oh, there's these powerful women that I get to collaborate with, and I think that's so beautiful and kind of uncommon in the rock world a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I have like so much respect also for like the way that it's obvious how your collaborations are, like from your stage presence and from the results of your collaborations. So I just wondered if you wanted to say anything about the importance of collaboration specifically for you.
Absolutely, yes. The importance of collaboration is to for me with musically is to create something new, to create, because there's already that one a specific note, like the B flat. That note has been played so many times, but how do you play it with certain people gives it a different element, a different tone, a different uh movement. It rings differently. So I really like to collaborate with people that like to push the limit. I love collaborating with people that I have yet to collaborate with, and I just know we'll learn something new from playing together. And that's definitely the most important aspect of it. And then sometimes it doesn't work, and that's great. Sometimes it's like, oh, you know what, I got too busy, you got too busy. Oh, just and that's natural. That's just the world around us. But when something clicks and it feels great, it's just absolute bliss.
What is something really important that you've learned over the years after collaborating with so many people? Like, if you were to give someone advice on how to start a band or what it's like to be in a band, this is the most important thing you have to know, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Okay. Well, it depends. It depends if you're a musician who you just want to play, as opposed to a musician who you want to play out. If you want to play shows, it's a total different approach to playing music, and an approach to like having your music being heard. If you're just learning and you're just playing music for yourself, I would say like be completely open, play the instrument upside down. There's no wrong way to play an instrument, you know, and that's the cool thing. That's the great thing about music is that there's no wrong way to do it, you know. And then so on the other flip of that coin, if you want to start playing shows, then there's definitely some etiquette that that is very helpful to musicians, you know, and I have a lot of like bands that you know startups, and I love playing those tiny little shows like you know, just tiny little basement shows, or you know, because it kind of reminds me of like who I am and where my roots are from. You know, because like it's fun to play a sold out show in this big old venue and blah 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 blah. That's awesome, green room, cool. But I also love like putting myself back down and being like, hey yo, we all started from scratch, you know. So I always encourage, not encourage. I always try to have up and coming bands in my bills, just so it could be like, you know, everyone needs to cut their teeth somewhere. Everyone needs to learn somewhere. So that is really important for me to have like this inclusivity of as a musical community. You know, like everyone deserves a chance to be heard. You know, so I think that answers that.
More about your music. You listened to a lot of Nirvana growing up. What are some other influences that you think have sort of shaped the sound of the music that you
My
played in?
major influences are jazz, tropical music, and cumbia. Like I really grew up because my mom is super Mexican and my dad's Chicano. So my mom, we're from Juarez, Chihuahua, so we're like northern Mexican. So like I listened to a lot of like Tejana music and fast like quebradita and like mariachi music a lot growing up. And that was just blaring around the house, or you know, just around the city, you know, because I was just in a Latinx neighborhood growing up. And then my dad was really into jazz and soul and classic rock, you know, so it was a total different element of that. And I think I just felt fortunate that my mom was able to like, you know, because she always reminded us siblings. She said, never forget where you come from, you know, never forget that you're Mexican, you know. And that always stuck with me, you know. And then my dad would be like, my dad never spoke to me in Spanish. He only spoke in English. My mom only spoke in Spanish, and that's not. It was just coincidental that way. And my dad was always just like, yeah, Trick, listen to this crazy I'm listening to. Or my dad would be like, you want to smoke some weed for the first time, son? Or, you know, it'd be very different. They're very interesting aspects. And I think me growing up, I really understood. I still am appreciating, like, specifically jazz really, like, opens my mind into possibilities that could never happen with music, you know, because it's such a bizarre world to me. And I always saw like that tropical and that cumbia and that merengue music has always been in my heart. And when I moved to Portland 20 years ago, I missed listening to my cultural music, you know, because I mean, it's still predominantly white city, but back then it was even whiter, you know, because there's more like people of color here now. But back then it was predominantly white, and I was missing talking my language, or like missing just listening to like Mexican music being blared out of a truck, a spray painted truck, you know. So
Well, I think you do a really good job of adding like your Hispanic culture to your music. Because honestly, like
thank you.
personally, like I'm not, my brain just doesn't click with a lot of the music that's out there like nowadays. But after I listened to your music, it just like really resonated with me, and you know, I'm really glad I get to do this podcast because, you know, I discovered a new artist that I really like, and he shares my culture background, and I think it's really cool.
That's awesome.
And, yeah,
Thank you. That
I love
rules.
it.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you.
but over the years, how have you had to adapt your music and the way you make music?
Fortunately, I never really changed the way I wrote music, was because I always wrote music for myself. I've never had the desire to go big or be like huge, you know, like that's like such a classic, just cliche, old school way of thinking, like, oh man, I'm gonna make it big, I'm gonna be, you know, touring all over the world and all that, which you can tour, but you know, sometimes it takes a toll on your mind and, you know, your profit for sure. But what was I saying? Oh man. Oh, So I feel really fortunate because I was always able to play the music and write the music that I wanted to do, you know. And granted, I was definitely influenced by like grunge and psych rock and cumbias and soul music. I definitely was influenced by it, but I wanted to create my own sound within that. Wanted it to be its own thing, and I never had any fear or worry that no one was gonna like it because I'm just like, if I like it and if I'm working with people that they're down with it, let's do it. So what? Let's just record it. It's gonna be fun and release it. You know, that's why like a lot of my bands like Sun Angle and Wet Fruit, like they're very specific weird bands, but people love it. So it's always a really fun surprise when people are like, I really like that album. I'm like, oh wow, really? Because that's weird. So thank you.
Yeah, I think yeah, like my favorite song that I think this would be a good segue into playing one of your songs. My favorite one was from your debut album with Savila.
Oh yeah.
The song Líneas. So I really like that song a lot, and yeah, we can play the song right now.
I love it. There you go. Bam, bam. So that with that album with Savila, with Risa and Fabiola, those ladies already had like a bunch of those songs already written, and I was like their fourth drummer. They asked me a long time. They asked me a long time ago, and I was like, I'm too busy. I can't. I'm too busy. And they're like, all right. And then some of my bands like chilled out, and then after a year, they asked me again. They're like, yo, just come play drums. I'm like, okay, I will. So then I went and I rehearsed with them, and I was like, yo, this is awesome. You guys sound great. And then they're like, you're not bad yourself. So, we tried it again, and then it really solidified because those songs are a couple of years old from that first debut album. Mm-hmm. So we just released an EP last week, and we are already working on another album right now. So we're like, we're staying busy. We're staying busy. Our goal is to tour Europe soon.
Ooh.
So
Ooh. How is touring like, especially since you're like such a like you tend to like be on a smaller scale. So what is it like to go touring?
Yeah, I think what it is that, I'm 40, I'm going to be 41 years old. I can't believe that. Viejito right here, man. Viejito. But I really am homebodied. I'm a homebodied person. Like I love, even when I was young, I did a few tours, and it wasn't fun for me sleeping on the floor of someone's house. Like it's punk and cool, but for me, I was just like, nah, that's not my thing. Like, I want to sleep in my bed, So, actually, now that I think about it, that might be one of the reasons why I'm in so many bands, just so it keeps me busy in the city. Because then I get, like, before the pandemic, I was playing, like, 16, probably 14 to 16 shows a month. So I was, like, playing, like, every other day, but with different bands, So it was awesome, but I didn't realize how tired I was. Because then the pandemic hit, and I'm like, oh, that means I have to chill. And then so like the first 6 months, I'm like, this is awesome. And then after that, I'm like, I'm done. This sucks.
Yeah, I think we all felt that way. Like I was out for school. I was like, extended spring break, yay! And I'm like, when is spring break over?
I know.
When can we go back?
Yeah, precisely.
But I think more from like a logistical standpoint, what is it like to tour? Like as a small like group, I think more what I'm trying to ask is like financially, how does that work? Like because you're a full-time artist and you have to pay the bills. How does that work?
Well, specifically with Savila, we've been very fortunate. We've been so fortunate that just the music community across the country has really just embraced us and like helped us out with really great shows. So we just have to like have certain guarantees to make it worth our while to fly, to rent a car, to pay gas, to pay ourselves for lodging. There's so many variables. It's kind of ridiculous. It's like it's a real business, when you think about it. Because then we're on stage, we're like, oh, this is so much fun. And then after that, you're like, okay, we got to go to a hotel. We got to wake up at 7 a.m. to drive to the next city, So it's a regiment for sure. But I really enjoy playing Europe. Specifically more than the States, because in Europe, almost every venue has a place for you to sleep above the venue, and they treat you like royalty. Like they ask, like, do you have any dietary restrictions? We're gonna home cook you a meal. You need to come early and relax. And it's just like here in the States, they're like there's 2 drink tickets, and you go pee around the corner in the back or something. I'm exaggerating, but that's not far from the truth, certain places when you're just touring in these small towns across the country here.
That's really I did not know that. That's really cool. Maybe I should go tour Europe. And
yeah.
Go on to tour Europe.
Yeah. It's not that hard. It's a beautiful experience. Nicole, what do you play?
Me? I don't play anything.
Oh, not yet.
I just want to tour for the experience.
Oh, I love it.
No, but I used to play a little bit guitar, not very advanced. I don't know, what else do I play?
Aside from the flute.
Yeah. the, like 3 chords that I can play on the flute. I don't know, I like to mess around, just like, what is it?
Garage?
Garage band, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to, make little sounds on there sometimes, but that's about it.
Love it.
Like sometimes you get like a good like instrument and you get like a good sort of progression and stuff, and then you don't know what to add onto it. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you can get like in a roadblock, which sucks.
yeah,
Sucks.
yeah,
But
yeah, for sure. I know a lot of our a lot of our homies have had a lot of roadblocks during the pandemic. I know some friends that haven't even picked up their instrument. They're just like, nah, man, I can't. I'm just like, woo. I don't know, man. I just feel fortunate that I have a basement here. My wife and I have a basement in our house or studio, so we get to play all the time. So I feel very fortunate. Feel very fortunate to have that. Yeah.
how with your music, you play more like kind of rock. You also do other stuff, but has it been easy for you to sort of incorporate your sort of heritage and different elements that maybe might not normally be a part of that? So does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it has been. It's been very fortunate and very welcoming. Because a lot of the bands I'm in always want to represent the community. I want like a white homie, a Latinx homie, female identifying homie. I want it to be diverse. I'm just tired of seeing these like all white boy bands. I'm just like, come on, y'all, let's diversify this. We're all under the same sun. We all need to give each other love. I've been very fortunate to be able to incorporate my Latinx cultura and my tropical style into the music. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to do that without any recourse or without anyone saying, "Oh, that's different. That's weird. What's up with that?" People are like, "Oh, that's different. That's weird. What's up with that?" It's like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
You meant you're now that we're talking about weird stuff, I think it's important to always acknowledge the fact that Portland is weird. Keep Portland weird. What drew you to Portland?
Yeah. I was 19 years old, and it was the fact that it was like cold and rainy and forested here. I was like, that sounds awesome, because I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and then my family are from Juarez, Chihuahua. So I would go from like beautiful sunny LA, and then when I would go down and hang out with my family in Mexico, it'd be like dry, desolate desert, big ass city. So I was like, man, I want a change. I want some heavy, thick forests. I want some swampy. I want to see some mushrooms on the ground. So that and Portland back then, there wasn't much going on, but I was able to find a job here as a social worker. So I was like a Latinx liaison. And that was a crazy job. So I did that for a couple of years when I first moved here. And that was awesome. But when I first moved here, I moved out to 102nd and Sandy. Because coming from Los Angeles, I was like, oh, it's only 100 blocks away from downtown. That ain't That's easy. 100 blocks. And then I moved here. I'm like, what? Where's downtown? I was so spoiled by living in Los Angeles. We're such a huge city, And then I came to Portland. I'm like, oh, Portland's tiny. It's adorable. And I still, yeah, it's still adorable in its own crazy way.
Ayana, I want to make sure that we're making space for you to ask questions if you like. You're welcome to jump in or...
Well, I did want to ask about the Homie Fest.
Oh, yeah.
So, like...
Of course.
Because of COVID, it couldn't happen last year. But, like...
Correct.
As we're slowly opening up and moving on, what are the plans for the Homie Fest?
I think we are not going to do it again this year, because my wife and I were contemplating it. We're just like, it would be so cool if we just limited to just 100 people, because we always wanted to be free in all ages and open to the public. Yeah. Did you go?
Oh,
did you go
to? No, not
No,
yet.
you haven't?
But it would seem cool to go to.
Yeah, they're really, really fun. It's just the last few years we had it at our friend's farm out in Estacada, and it was just free camping, and it was just so cool. And there was just bands all day, like half-hour sets, and there was one stage. And so it was all these rad bands like La Bamba, like A Villain, it was just Reptalians. It was just it's all friend bands, so it's a beautiful experience. But even though it's outside, I just don't feel that we can do it this year. As sad as that is, I don't want to put anyone at risk, and because it's such a big old like love fest, it'll be hard to control that and be like, hey, 6 feet apart, wear your mask, I don't want to be telling people what to do, you know, and so
Yeah.
we're just like, we can't do it. We're just gonna have to wait another year, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well,
I
for
look
those
forward
who
to it.
haven't been or don't even know what Homie Fest is, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's a festival that I started with my wife about 7 years ago, and essentially the fest is was always in a weekend in the summer, and it was always free. It was always all ages. It was always a safe environment and free camping, and it was just bands. It was like 20 to 30 bands in 2 days, and that seems chaotic, and it was. It really was. It was awesomely chaotic, you know, and because I've been playing music in Portland for so long, I've met so many amazing engineers, so many amazing people that helped me figure out the whole fest, you know. So I have like some volunteer homies, and there was a few homie fests where I would DJ until like 7 a.m. So like the bands would be done. The bands would be done like around 2 a.m. And everyone was like, yeah, let's keep on partying. I'm like, all right, let's just keep on raging. So I would DJ until like 6 or 7 a.m. till the generators ran out of gas. Because we always use generators, you know, so it's just all like off the grid and all that jazz. So yeah, those are crazy. Those are fun. So hopefully we'll do it next year, you know, when everything is safe again.
I heard you were planning a Homie Fest that was maybe going to happen in Mexico. Is that still a possibility for the future? Because I was like,
I know. We have a homie that he has a property in the coast of Nayarit in this beautiful town, and we were gonna do it. We were seriously gonna do it, and we went down there, and we were like asking for permits and figuring out what to do because we were like, it's gonna be all ages, you know, the same thing, all ages, the whole town, because it's literally a town. It's a little town on the coast of Nayarit. And the whole town's welcome, you know. We just, you know, and then so the town people were like, all right, it's gonna cost you this and this much, and we're like, whoa. Like in the end, it ended up, and because we had to rent a stage, and we had to, you know, because I have all my gear here in Portland, so we were gonna have to rent everything, and it was gonna be over $15,000. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to like go fund me for that, you know. It feels too elitist. And I'm like, just to have a good time, that's a lot of money. Like I'd rather give that to like to people who actually need the money, you know. We felt a little selfish. We're like, nah, we can't do this. That's too much money, you know. So the only way that'll work is if like I buy my own gear and I just leave it down in Mexico, which sounds like a great idea. Why not? Yeah.
That's cool.
What does it take to like host like an entire festival? Like who is all involved in like the logistics, the planning, the lineup?
Yeah, that's all pretty much me. Wow. I do it. I do all the booking. I do the lineup. I email all the bands. I figure out all, because as I aforementioned, I have a bunch of PA stuff. So like I have a whole setup ready to do a fest anywhere, you know. Just because I've always loved throwing parties outside. It's always fun, you know. And this is like party vibes right now. You know, it's like, let's go outside, just go to a park. You know, I've always wanted to do that. Like just do a DIY show in a park. You just have to bike in and you just have generators and like bike trailers and just do a little show in the forest somewhere. I've always wanted to do that, but now I'm getting older. I'm getting lazier. I'm like, oh, it sounds like so much work. So. But yeah, the logistics are ridiculous, you know, and my wife helps out a lot. And like, we also get we have homies who volunteer like with like a first aid kit area and like a waters area and like just making sure everyone stays hydrated, you know, and you know, there's a lot to consider. You know, you want this, because the main thing is you want the safety of everyone. You want everyone to be safe. You don't want anyone like taking some mushrooms and then falling down a ravine somewhere. You know, that doesn't sound like fun. So yeah, you have to take safety precautions for sure, you know. But as long as everyone is taking care of each other and everyone's just looking out for each other, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for all three of you to go to the next year's Homie Fest. That would be awesome.
Yeah, this would be my first festival. I haven't been able to go any festivals.
At all?
Well, like I feel like because like most festivals are like 18 or like 21 and older.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and like I just turned 18 like last year. So.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel old now.
No way.
No, I had no.
That's awesome.
So
I feel.
I had a freshman call me old. He said, "You have history in the water."
Oh.
And I'm only 18.
Oh my God.
So
That's a.
yeah.
But you haven't been. What about PDX Pop? You never went to PDX Pop?
No.
Cause that's an awesome free fest in the waterfront. Have any of y'all been to that? You have?
I have.
Awesome. Yeah.
Especially those small festivals. Like, there's so many cool small festivals. Like, they can be a little overwhelming. I think
my God.
Sometimes, like the
Absolutely.
really big ones, like Sasquatch
Yeah.
and stuff. But like the psychedelic, I forgot
Lose Your
what
Mind?
it's called. Lose Your Mind Fest.
That's
so
an
much
amazing
fun,
fest,
And it's
yeah.
like, you know, yeah, and like the small venues we have in Portland, I think we're so spoiled and so lucky to have like all these really great venues. I hope many of them, most of them, or all of them
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah. Definitely the smaller mid-sized venues have definitely survived thanks to all those that funding money for them, for sure. But a handful of small venues have died, which is really sad. But hopefully from the ashes, new venues will rise. You know, that was one thing I've always toyed with the idea too, was opening up an all ages venue, but then like having like after hours, like doing shows from like 12 to 4 in the morning, which is like 21 and over. So because that's the major bummer about venues, is that their revenue is from alcohol, and it's so unfortunate. That's why it sucks being 21 and under, because you can't go to any rad shows because they're all over 21 and over just so they could make money with selling booze. And that's so unfortunate, and that's so cheesy. Yeah, that's my beef with that. I hate that, and then there's really rad venues like Wonder Ballroom, where they split the all ages with 21 and over, so like everyone still gets to see it. So it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. It's just like this isolation, of individuals just because you're not of a stupid drinking age. I'm sure Nicole can attest to that since you just turned 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the closest thing to a festival that I've been to and that I remember of is probably like Cinco de Mayo, and when like I'm all like at the rides and stuff, and it's towards the end of the night, and I need to go back to my mom. She's always inside the tent, just like listening to the music. So it's probably the closest that I've been to like a.
Is that here at the waterfront?
Yeah.
Is it here in
yeah,
Portland? Because I played a few of those.
Really?
Savila has played a Cinco de Mayo fest, and my other band Máscaras, which is like a psychedelic rock band. We played the Cinco de Mayo fest too. Mm-hmm. They're fun. They're ridiculous. It's like a bunch of paisas down there with their hats, with the Hana hats on. They're like, give me that ranchero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think I stopped going probably around like 2015, 16, I want to say. So, yeah.
Yeah, Savila played 2016 or 17, something around there. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
How so you grew up here?
Yeah, I grew up here. Yeah, I've been here
that's awesome.
all my life. Yeah.
What? You're a Portland native.
Yeah.
You're hard to find.
Yeah, pretty hard to find. Well, I guess technically I'm more No, let's just go with Portland. It's Portland, guys.
Yeah.
I grew up in Portland.
Troutdale's Portland, whatever.
Troutdale is Portland. Yeah. More about like festivals when you're not hosting them, like Cinco de Mayo. How do you get contacted to play at stuff like that?
It's just through word of mouth. It's amazing. Like someone just like gets my email and just emails me out of the blue. Because I also have an 11-piece psychedelic cumbia band called Orquestra Pacifico Tropical. And we always get hit up for festivals because we're just a big, huge like dance party band. So, people just, a lot of bookers are just like, what's going to be a big band that's just going to fill that stage? So I just feel really fortunate that it's all through emails, because I don't have any managers. Like none of my bands have managers. We just do it ourselves. We book all ourselves. We do everything. It's the true definition of DIY, which can take up a lot of time. Like yesterday, in fact, I was over at Brisa's house, the vocalist of Savila, and we were shoving records into boxes to mail. We were handwriting each one. That's like the mundane work. You're like, oh, this is what you got to do. You sell all these records online. You got to hand deliver these fools. So That you got one? Oh, what? That's right. There you.
Literally, like Papi dropped these. I bought these on
I remember
Instagram,
that.
and he was like, I'll deliver, and I'm like, this is an $8 tape or a $10 tape or whatever it was. I'm like, that seems excessive.
No, that's what we do.
I'm like,
that's what we do.
It's really handwritten notes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one little complaint. Why do you not have CDs? I use CDs.
Because we're not in Europe or Mexico. I know. It's just I know. It's just like no one really buys CDs in the States.
Yeah.
But you're right. You know what? I'm gonna make you a bunch of CDs.
I'm gonna
I love that you're a CD lover. That's amazing.
I'm not gonna burn my own CD of your tracks. Just go like
okay.
Full, like 2000.
That's so tight. Do you have a CDR? What you got going? You got a CD player, portable?
Well, I don't really have much. I just personally like collecting CDs because
that's cool.
I had a car, a 2002 Ford Escape, and before like I got like the stereo upgraded, I was stuck listening to
CDs only.
Yeah. For like a good couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I think I only have like 4 of them, but I'm trying to build up.
I hear you.
Yeah,
CDs is gonna be retro probably in 10 years.
Yeah,
you know how VHS is cool right now, so I bet your CDs are gonna be cool in 10 years.
Well, and like it's better quality than like what you hear like from your phone.
Oh, of course.
The technology,
yeah.
It's better quality than what you hear on your phone. So
you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct on that. It's the worst listening to an album on a phone.
Oh, it's even worse listening to music on the radio. Like, have you?
Oh my God!
If you listen to like music on the radio and then your phone and then your CD, it's just like it's such a like elevation of.
It's a drastic difference.
Quality, yeah.
Yeah, especially if your radio is like a AM, there's like a janky like factory speakers where it's just treble. There's no bass at all. It just sounds like this. It sounds like that.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there.
Well, I kind of wanted to ask, what has been one of your favorites, or I mean, since you have so much, what are one of your top songs that you really like?
Out of my stuff. Oh wow.
Yes.
That's a weird question, huh?
It doesn't have to be your favorite. Just one that maybe right now you're just really in the mood to listen to right now.
So Luz Helena from Ilabamba, she just Mascaras is about to release our album, and then we have some of our really great friends singing on some of the songs, and the song specifically that Luz Helena sings on the Mascara song, which hasn't been released yet, is really incredible. It's called Cold Castle, and I don't know what the name of the album is yet, but yeah, we're about to release it on vinyl. I think by the end of the year, hopefully. But that song has been in my head a lot lately because just Luz Helena is just such an amazing musician. What she does to that is just gorgeous. So maybe I'll let you listen to that.
Cool. Before we got on the call, we kind of were having a conversation about like some of the stuff that your bandmates sing about and like what the songs are about and the way your like presentation and shows and stuff. And Nicole and I were kind of talking about how a lot of them feel like there's some kind of like spiritual quality or like ritual quality, and maybe even like magic. There's kind of a feeling of magic in a lot of it. Yeah. So I'm just like wondering, like, if you want to say anything about that magic and how that plays.
Absolutely. With Savila specifically, for this new EP that we just released last week, we definitely were aiming for something that would resonate with our ancestors, because all 3 of us are Mexican, and we definitely, there's like a lot of ritualistic and like ancestor acknowledgement in old school Mexican cultura. And it's just a reminder of where we come from and who we are. And Brisa does a really incredible job of expressing that through words and through her vocal emotion, and Fabiola on guitar and bass and everything else. She's just a magician, and I feel like these two mystical women that are just conjuring this like archaic magic, and I'm just there just to like stir the pot of sound, and I just feel fortunate. I feel fortunate that I could be a part of that, especially just being a cis dude, you know, because, and you know, and it's so crazy because sometimes I have guilt. I'm like, damn, I'm a guy. And I'm just like, well, at least I'm a brown guy. Shit. At least I got, you know, but I'm just like, you know, because there's one thing that I think is important for a lot of musicians, especially if you're a dude, is to like use your platform to raise women of color and like women's voices, yo. You know, this is not just a man's world, and that's silly. It never was, you know. So I feel really fortunate to be able to play music with these women that can like conjure this archaic sound, and then we add like club music to it. So it's like that's why we have our own genre called ancestral club, because we're trying to be like, this music is like 1,000 years old, but 1,000 years old in another galaxy where like all these space creatures are bumping in the club, you know. So that's what we envision.
That's cool. I watched the documentary sort of short film that you all made this morning, and I hadn't seen that.
Which
before,
one, the Puro
actually.
Savila or
the
the other one with the borders without crossing?
With your mother's.
Oh yes, that's Échale.
Yes, Échale Savila.
Échale Savila. Yeah.
And that one also, like, it's, very, like, it feels very much like Conjuring, because you're talking about ancestry and honoring your maternal lineages. And
Absolutely.
All this thing. And it was extremely moving. I guess I just wanted to give you a moment to talk about making
Absolutely.
that film, if you like.
So we had this idea of having all our moms come together so they could all meet each other, and we could all just be in the same environment together and just vibe on each other's history and present, you know. So, and then I had this crazy idea. So we're thinking about like, okay, let's just have this idea of them all being together. Maybe we can go to the desert here. And then I said, well, what about if we also have a scene of us, all of them playing our respected instruments? So my mom behind the drum kit, Fabi's mom behind the guitar, and Brisa's mom singing. So we did. So within that, you can see there's scenes where like the moms are playing the instruments like they're us, you know. And my mom had never sat behind a drum kit before, and I kept this, and I did this video of her, and it's adorable. She was banging the shit out of those drums. It was amazing. She's like, this is easy, mijo. This is easy. I can do this. I'm like, yeah, you can, Mom. Yeah, you can. So what we did was we flew in all our moms.
Yeah.
My mom from Mexico, Fabi's mom from Texas, and then actually Brisa is just like Nicole, is a Portland native. Brisa, the vocalist, is a Portland native, so her mom just lives down the street. So we all got together, and then our really good friend Maria Jo Dixon did all the visuals, and like they made all our clothes by hand. So it was like a really crazy process, and we drove all the way to John Day, which is like 7 hours, you know, to go see the red painted hills. If y'all never have done that, oh my goodness, it's magnificent out there. It's just a beautiful old fossilized bed out in the middle of the desert. It is so beautiful. It's so ancient, you know. So we went out there and we filmed for like 2 to 3 days. And then our really great friend Caitlin Diaz, they released it. They recorded everything on a Super 8 on an old film, and just made it look like this beautiful old documentary, just, you know, acknowledging and representing our culture, you know. So that's how it became, and it was so beautiful. It's just very heartfelt, you know. And again, I feel humble just being a part of that, you know. I just feel really honored to be a part of that. So yeah, it was a beautiful experience.
I love how many of your projects, and we've been talking a lot about Savila, but you know, you have so many bands and all of these projects, but I love so much how like a lot of your work has this like super emotional, like everything on the table kind of quality to it, but also has like humor.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so little humor also in a lot of art that it's like, it's really refreshing to be like, yeah, it's okay to like feel all your feelings and also laugh. Like that's part of your feelings.
Absolutely. I think through laughter is like there's comfort through laughter, you know. And like there's a lot of bands, and like a lot of brands have like stage fright, you know. It's dauntingly scary just to be on a big stage with an instrument in front of you, and you feel like, oh man, I hope I don't mess up this song. But if you go at it just like, you know, I don't care if I up, whatever. It's just this is fun. We're here to have fun, and that's the main key. It's like we're here to have fun, and we're here to have a good time. And if the audience feels that, then there's this connectivity, and there's this conduit of just happiness, you Everyone's just together having a good time, and it's like it's okay if the song sounds like garbage. We're all just in the same room having a great time, and that's what's important for sure. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely use humor as just like a breaking of the ice, but it's because I'm naturally a funny person. I'm always joking around, and I can be serious. Check it out. See?
Ayana, do you have any other questions that you wanted to ask? Not to put you on the spot, just making space.
So, a while ago, you did mention how you didn't want to spend like $15,000 on some new equipment.
Uh-huh.
But like, would you want to maybe host or be a part of any like of the music group similar to what you were put in when you were younger? Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's a valid question. Absolutely. But the thing that another factor about specifically Homie Fest happening in Mexico was that it would be hard for people to buy their own ticket to go down there to see a show too, because that's a lot of money. Like once you get there, everything's free. You'll be able to camp for free, and there's be free food and everything. But you have to pay your $1,000 ticket to go down there, and that's also just kind of like oh yeah, easy. I'll just throw $1,000 just to go to this cool fest in Mexico. So yeah, there's a lot of varying factors for sure, but I mean, I think within time, I would love to do festivals in different countries, and just have like kids from all areas just to go to see music. Why not? Music is universal, and music, speaks volumes. So yeah, that would be an amazing goal, just to be able to like do fests around the world for free, and just have people just go to a show. It's like, go enjoy it, enjoy this free show.
Sounds awesome.
That would be magical. Yeah.
All right, the final question.
Let's hear it.
So.
Hold on.
We like to ask
Uh-huh.
all of our guests, what advice would you have for any youth or anyone who's growing up and wanting to become an artist, a drummer, a pianist, just anyone who would like to follow in your footsteps? What would you say to them?
I would say keep an open mind, be free, and be accepting. Because we all make mistakes, and we all have to learn somewhere. So it's like there's no rush, especially if you're young. It's like you're going to have to learn your instrument, so it takes time. And it's like, be patient. Yeah, I would say be patient, be compassionate, and be open. That's what I would give to the youth. And it pays off because, like, honestly, music is absolute therapy. It's just something else. I can't describe it. For me, music is, I become another person. I become this entity that just like is channeling this movement, So it's the world. It's the bee's knees for sure. So thank y'all so much for having me. Y'all are incredible.
Yeah,
been a pleasure.
Great to have you here, and great to learn more about your music, and it was nice to talk to someone who shares the same like background with me, and I think
that's awesome.
It was really cool.
Thank you for saying that.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Oh yeah, Savila's playing an outdoor show the end of this month, and it's all ages, but it's kind of expensive. It's at that new spot Zidell Yards, where Zidell Yards is. So they're doing like shows in the outside. So that's May 29th. So there's still a few tickets left for that. So that's going to be awesome. So we're playing like an hour and a half or something. It's like an outdoor awesome thing. So
that's going to be exciting.
And then how does somebody do you have any like social media things that you want people to look at to find you?
Yeah, I do all my social media just mainly through Instagram. I try to keep my social interactions less, just because it's good for my psyche and my mental ability and my mental brain. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Papi Fimbres, just my name. And yeah, I definitely post a lot of stuff there, so all music related. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, thank you. And for people listening on KBOO, you can find this show on our KBOO archives at kboo.fm/program/. art-talk-bus-stop. And you can also find us on, I got that down now.
Yeah, you did.
You can find us on Instagram by searching for the hashtag #ArtTalkBusStop, which has old posts that'll lead you all different kinds of places to find old episodes. We've got a Bandcamp that you can listen to the archive on also at Art Talk Bus Stop. And thanks to KBOO for giving us extra time for their youth focus
Thank
month
you,
in May. So
KBOO.
we had a whole hour.
That's amazing. Love you, K-Boo.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Poppy.
Thank y'all so
really
much.
Nice to talk with you.
You guys are
Thanks.
amazing. Thank you. Enjoy this beautiful
You're
day.
amazing.
Y'all rule.
You too.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay, bye.